Good morning. It's Get Up.
Yeah.
We're presented by Freestyle Libre, and if it sounds like there's a little less enthusiasm than usual in the studio this morning, Rex, why is that?
Man, I mean, look, Greeny, normally Mondays we can't wait, man. We're so fired up talking about the games and all the great things we saw and all that. Unfortunately, man, I mean, two of our best players, I mean, have, awful injuries, lost for the season, and it feels damn depressing.
And yet it is the only place we begin. One on offense, one on defense. We start on offense, and that's Kansas City, where Patrick Mahomes' season is over after he tore his ACL in the left knee in the closing minutes of yesterday's loss to the Chargers, a result that also ended Kansas City's playoff hopes officially. Mahomes had an MRI after the game that confirmed the injury. He and the Chiefs are now exploring surgical options. About an hour or so after the game was over, Mahomes posted on social media, "Don't know why this had to happen. Not going to lie, it hurts, but all we can do now is trust in God and attack every single day over and over again. Thank you, Chiefs Kingdom, for always supporting me, and for everyone who has reached out and sent prayers. I will be back stronger than ever." He is the face of the National Football League, the defining player of our favorite sport, the best player in our sport, and trending towards being one of the greatest players that ever lived. Schefter, we'll start with you. What do we know about the injury itself?
On a day when the Kansas City Chiefs were eliminated, when it couldn't be any darker, it gets darker because they lose their quarterback, their franchise, the face of the National Football League, to a torn ACL. And the question really is how much damage there is to other ligaments, and if and when it'll affect his availability for next season. He's gone for this season, unfortunately. He will not play again this season. But there is a question now about whether he will be able to make it back for the start of next season. Everybody's rooting for him. He's built differently than most. You hope he can do it. But I think whether he's available for the start of next year now is up in the air.
Okay, so we always turn to D. Wood for some sort of big proclamation off our top story of the day. What do we say about the Kansas City Chiefs today?
It's time for the Chiefs to retool. It's time for the organization. I'm not talking about just, adding a piece here, adding a piece there. I think it's time for the Chiefs to, as an organization, to take stock in what they got going on and retool this roster. We've said it going back to last year. Even when they went to the Super Bowl, we felt like it was a flawed team. And then when you look at this year, whether it's, obviously, Travis Kelce, who's been an all-time great at his position, showing slippage. Chris Jones, guy who's been fantastic, potential Hall of Famer as well, showing slippage. And you could go down the laundry list, the offensive line. There's a laundry list of items that when you look at this Kansas City Chiefs team, where you could just say, this is not good enough. This is not good enough for a team that's led by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and with this injury that Patrick Mahomes is dealing with, and like you said, it could affect him as far as his availability for 2026. Yeah. I think now is the time for the organization to start retooling this thing.
Now, Rex, you've been saying for weeks and weeks how much they don't get me wrong here. We're not suggesting this is why he got hurt. He got hurt because in football, your chances of getting hurt are 100%.
Right.
For all these players, it happens eventually. But that they have just needed him depended on him for so much that maybe a little step back, rebuild everything else around him, and get ready for whatever the second run that Patrick Mahomes makes is going to be.
Yeah, 100%. I think it starts with Andy Reid. I think Andy's got to sit back and say, hey, look, man, we can't just put it all on this young man. We've got to give him some help. I think there has to be more focus on two things: protection of the quarterback and running the football. And they've been absolutely abysmal at running the football. They won't run the football. So I think schematically they need to reset it also.
Yep.
And don't just rely on what got us there. What got you there was Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. This is a once-in-a-lifetime player. That's what got you there. But we got to help him, I think, along the way as well.
And think about this also. It's the end of something. Because this was a team that had been to the playoffs for 10 straight years. They had won 9 straight divisions. They had been in the Super Bowl. They had won Super Bowls. Now, Travis Kelce's contract is up. Mm-hmm. There's the real possibility that Patrick Mahomes may never throw another pass to Travis Kelce ever again. That, when you think about it, one of the great combinations in football history, Yesterday may have been the last time.
I'll tell you when he will, at their Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah.
That's when they'll be up on that stage and they will do it. I mean, look, here's the thing. It's the end of something, and then there'll be a new beginning of something.
Correct.
Dan, we all know this. When you've got a quarterback like him, he's still so young.
Correct.
There's going to be a whole second chapter to this. The irony, the symmetry to Brady. Let me put it up here for you, Cindy, if I can. A17. I mean, Mahomes, that's the man he's chasing, right? Tom Brady is the man he's chasing to be the GOAT. They both now tore their ACLs in their 9th seasons, resulting in missed playoff runs for their teams. Now, they're not exactly the same. I know, I can hear you yelling. Brady hurt himself week 1. Mahomes' team was already out. But either way, look at the numbers. They both had 3 rings at that point. Mahomes actually has bigger offensive stats than Tom Brady did. There will be a whole second iteration, Dan, we assume, to Patrick Mahomes' great career. It's going to be a moment here where, to D. Wood's point, they reset, retool, whatever it is that they do. They depend on him too much the way they're currently built.
Winning football team, let alone organization, over the next 5+ years. I agree with Rex. A schematic. I'm thinking the Brady correlation. I think after that injury, is that when they added Gronk and Randy Moss?
In short order, yeah.
Yeah. So
he got hurt. They had Moss already when he got hurt, but that was when they went to the 2 tight ends.
Correct.
Things just changed. Things evolved.
So that'll be interesting to see how Kansas City looks at the situation, how they can evolve and not just be so Patrick go make some plays dependent. It's been trending this way for about 2 years as a football team. It sucks that this dynasty is over, but hopefully they'll build a new one.
Just think about what they used to be a few years ago on offense. They'd ring around the rosy, all these fun trick plays and all that kind of stuff. That feels like a lifetime ago.
They were hanging on for dear life over the last 2 seasons.
So for the moment, that run, one of the great 10-year runs we have ever seen, comes to an end, but they will be back. Meanwhile, in Denver, we have the defensive superstar, Micah Parsons, and you knew it the second you saw it if you were watching the game. He also tore the ACL in his left knee. This came during the 3rd quarter of Green Bay's loss to the Broncos. Parsons transformed this Packer defense overnight. It will be very hard to replace his impact. You look at the sack numbers, and they are one part of the story, but they are by no means the whole story. Micah Parsons had 66 pass rush wins this year, one less than the next 5 players on his team combined. No player was more responsible for a higher percentage of his team's total pressures than Parsons was for the Packers. And so, D. Wood, another grand pronouncement from you. What was Green Bay and what are they now?
They're still a good football team. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. Because when I look at Micah Parsons, he is such a force multiplier. Because of the energy and the attention that he draws, it allows other players, particularly on that defense, to be that much more successful. And so when you talk about this NFC and you're talking about the Rams and other teams that's in that conference, the difference is in the margins. And when you take away a superstar player like Micah Parsons, it can mean all the difference.
What do we know, Schefter?
Well, we know that he did tear his ACL. Obviously, there'll be an MRI today to confirm it. I hate to say this, but you watch this sport long enough and you watch a player reach for his knee in a certain way, and you could almost see from the moment he does it. Like, I saw that, I'm like, he just tore his ACL.
Yeah, we all saw it.
Yep. I mean, it's not hard to figure out, and it's terrible to watch. It seems like it's happening with more and more frequency. They lose one of the 2 or 3 best defensive players in all of football. The guy that they traded for to put them over the top, to make the difference. They don't have their difference
And he was.
maker. And he was.
Yeah.
And
you know,
and
like,
it worked.
He can't put them over the top. And again, it's not just that is the most devastating by far. But they already lost Tucker Kraft at tight end to a torn ACL. Christian Watson hurt his chest yesterday. They don't think it's serious.
This is who they've lost.
But look at the
It's a nightmare
players.
season.
Just yesterday, Parsons, Watson, Zach Tom, and Evan Williams. That was yesterday, not to mention the 3 previous guys that are already on IR.
So they play the Bears on Saturday night in Chicago. That game could very well decide the division. It certainly will determine the division lead at the moment. What the Packers do have going for them is a quarterback who is red hot right now. Dan, can Jordan Love still carry this Packer team through a loaded NFC playoffs?
There's no question that he can. I thought yesterday, too many misses in critical, huge moments. And when you're playing against good defenses, great defenses, you can't have that. This is 3rd and 6 in the red zone. Against a great defense on the road, top of the screen, balls to come out now to Romeo Doubs. Doubs wins. He wins. You cannot miss that throw if you're Jordan Love. You're too good of a player. And then there's 2 interceptions in this game. One is, no question, a great play. This is bottom of the screen. Christian Watson, who got banged up yesterday. This is an outstanding interception by Patrick Surtain Jr. I'd also tell you this ball's a yard short. If I'm being candid about Jordan Love, I've seen him place the ball perfectly. He's got green grass down the field. The safety stays low. Throw this ball out there and let the big guy go get it. But he's reaching back for it, and Surtain is able to undercut and chase it down. And then the one that kind of ends the game, you're going to have a little crossing route. Jordan gets away with this at times. He's falling back, kind of drifting away, sidearm throw. There's green space there. See where it is on the receiver. It's behind him. And then that ball gets popped up in the air and picked. And so I'm not telling everybody this is the consistent thing, but if they're going to make up for some of these injuries, he can't have those misses.
So, Rex, yesterday we finished Sunday NFL Countdown picking our games, all the games of the day, and I picked the Packers in this game, and I said, I believe the Packers are the team to beat now. I believe they will be the team in the NFC in the Super Bowl, and I think we all agree the injury to Micah Parsons changes that. So, what are the Packers now when you look at them compared to the Rams, Seahawks, whoever else it is you want to put at the very top of the conference? Can the Packers, with the guy that Jordan Love you're starting to fall a little bit in love with, can the Packers still make the deep run?
They can make a deep run, but quite honestly, the first thing that came to my mind is this is Detroit of this year.
Yep.
Where Detroit was the best team in the league, had they stayed healthy. I think Green Bay, you can make that argument.
No question.
Okay. However, the Micah Parsons the injury is absolutely enormous. This man, 64 pressures. That's 11 more than any other player in the league. And by the way, he's doubled an enormous amount of times.
Yeah.
Like his presence. I said it was the worst trade in history of the NFL because I knew what they were getting. Now he's gone. You got a right tackle, and you got all these things.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me last year of Detroit so much. And what happened to Detroit? They had the best record in football, get kicked out in the first meeting.
And this defense is built on pressure. There's defenses that aren't necessarily. This is a defense that if you take the pressure element away, it's an okay defense. It's a fine defense, but there's nothing really that scares you about it. They play a certain coverage style that wants to allow you to do that. Hold on to the football, allow Parsons or somebody else because of Micah to go win. Not having Micah there, it's a Super Bowl impact loss.
Look, they had a window. They traded for a guy to put them over the top. He can't get it done. And now it's interesting to me that we had the Packers go out and trade for Micah Parsons. We had the Colts go out and trade for Sauce Gardner. And both teams have been racked with devastating injuries to those players, not to mention to the surrounding cast.